Happy Tuesday, my friends, and welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be giving you our first NFL mock draft. All 32 picks. We'll probably go more in depth in the first 10, and then we'll kind of rapid fire through the last 22. But keep an eye out for everything we're doing here at Prime Sports World, including tomorrow. UFL season preview as that kicks back off on Friday. Can't wait for spring football. But right now, we're going to talk a little bit more about fall football. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffman. Right there, my co-host, Mr. T.J. Hopkins. TJ, what's up, man? Happy Tuesday.
It ain't Friday.
You want to keep reminding me, man? I'm aware that it's not Friday. That's unfortunate.
It ain't Friday.
It will be Friday soon, though. Man. We just got to get through the rest of the week. But yeah, I've been sitting on this mock draft for about 2 weeks. I recently had to adjust it slightly, given some recent news. But I am excited to unveil this one. Also, if you want to go check out Christian's mock draft, I think he dropped one today. You can go check that out in the Daily Blitz. I just talked to him. He said he was working on one that was going to drop today or tomorrow. But dailyblitz.blog, Christian Simpson, go check out his content. He will have mock drafts up all the way up until the draft, until he has a final one. He will be on this show doing a mock draft show at some point as well. But yeah, TJ, this was an interesting mock draft to put together for sure.
Yeah, Bucky Brooks dropped a mock draft, his third mock draft, like 20 minutes after the Russell Wilson news. So he went back like 20 minutes. He did a mock draft in 20 minutes, given the new developments that has happened in the past 4 hours or so, or whenever he signed today.
Yeah.
It's I think like for the first time in a long time, like there's no clear-cut number one pick.
Yeah,
and I know Tennessee
since the Trayvon Walker draft. Really, I mean,
no, I'm gonna say Myles Garrett. I think the Myles Garrett draft.
I would go with Trey. I want to go all the way back to Myles Garrett. I think the Trayvon Walker draft. I think
because Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson was like arguably, but he didn't go number one. Or even the Baker Mayfield draft. Like people were pretty surprised when Baker Mayfield went number one overall, even the year after Myles Garrett.
No, because who else was a quarterback in that Baker Mayfield draft?
Josh
that's
Allen,
Lamar. That's Josh Allen.
Yeah, it's
Josh Rosen.
Yeah. So,
but I think Myles Garrett was going number one, no matter who got the number one overall pick. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
Like when I think clear cut number one, I'm saying this person's going number one, no matter who has the first overall pick. Myles Garrett was going number one, whether it was Cleveland, whether it was Chicago, whether it was San Francisco. That's Myles Garrett was going number one. No questions asked. Like he was that good in college. This go around Tennessee is like I wouldn't be surprised. I'm at the point with Tennessee, like I wouldn't be surprised if they stayed at number one and took Cam Ward, or if they fielded offers for it.
Well, let's talk about Tennessee. Let's talk about the first overall pick, as the Tennessee Titans are currently on the clock. And TJ, who do you got the Titans taking? By the way, no trades in this first mock draft. Later mock drafts we'll have trades. So who do you got the Titans taking number one overall in this draft? Let's just real quick rattle off their needs based on NFL.com. quarterback, edge, wide receiver, linebacker, safety, top 5 needs for the Tennessee Titans.
Excuse me, since no trades are happening in this mock draft,
that doesn't
Cam Ward
affect TJ
goes
all
number
that.
one.
That doesn't affect TJ all that much.
I mean, like it do, but it don't. Like, because it's such a doing mock trades is such a wild card because you don't know who's going to trade for what. You get what I'm saying? Like it's such a wild card mocking trades.
I enjoy doing it. But you got Cam Ward going number 1.
Yeah, I got Cam Ward going number 1.
I'm going to agree with you on Cam Ward. I think the Will Levis, Mason Rudolph experiment is over, especially since what they've done in the offseason. You know, they've kind of bolstered up this offensive line, added left guard and added a left tackle in Dan Moore, and the tackle's name is escaping me. But they spent the last 2 drafts building up this offensive line as well. They feel like a team that's kind of just a quarterback away from being semi-competitive real quick, given how good this defense is. I think they got to get the quarterback. They got to get the right guy. I think Cam Ward will be a Tennessee Titan when it's all said and done. As long as they don't trade out. We'll talk about that in the future mock draft. But it's staying put. Cam Ward ends up becoming the number 1 overall pick. He's got all the intangibles you look for, the arm strength. He's got a little bit of Jake Cutler in him where he's got like that too confident in his arm. But I think you can tone that back in the NFL a little bit because you can't really tone it up. Like your arm strength is your arm strength, but Cam Ward's got a cannon for an arm. So I think he's going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, no disagreement there. Pick number 2.
Moving on to the Cleveland Browns, who have been in the news. They obviously have some major needs. Let's talk about their needs real quick. It's quarterback, offensive line, edge, running back, and then safety. I'll go first for the Cleveland Browns, and I recently just swapped this. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a Cleveland Brown. I think that they're going to take the second best quarterback in this draft. And a quick spoiler, this will be the last quarterback I have in this mock draft. But Shedeur Sanders, I think he has that upside. I think he could sit behind a Kenny Pickett for 1 season while the Browns kind of figure out what they want to do with Deshaun Watson. I would say that it's something that could happen. The other thing is that I kind of was watching a recent video from That's Good Sports, one of the podcasters, YouTubers I watch fairly frequently. Like Shedeur Sanders, a lot of like the people are like, oh, we're worried about his his persona being too much for our fan base, or just too much.
They don't draft him.
Cleveland Browns will not have that problem. As long as Deshaun Watson's in the building, he will be a bigger distraction than anything going on with Deshaun Sanders.
This new narrative about him, about Shedeur Sanders, it's fucking sickening, and it's borderline racism. Like I hate to play that card. I really do. But what about Shedeur Sanders says he's all these? Oh, he didn't decide to throw at the combine. See, that's cocky.
Nobody does.
No, what? How many?
But I do think outside of that, there are some concerns. Size, he's a little bit undersized. He doesn't have the prototypical arm strength, but he's accurate as all hell with the football. And he played in Colorado where there wasn't an offensive. He's offensive. No matter what offensive line he gets drafted by in the NFL, it's going to be an upgrade over whatever he had in Colorado. He doesn't necessarily have. He's not the most mobile guy, but he can be elusive. Yeah, so I think his ball placement and timing, and I think he goes to Cleveland. I think that's a good fit for him.
And he's playing.
I'm not worried about it.
If they take him second overall, he's 100% playing. Like there's nothing Kenny Pickett can show you to be like, hey, I'm better than Shedeur Sanders. It's just not happening. And this is also a what's his name? Kevin Stefanski, who bottom line, coaching for your job at this point, dude.
Yeah, not to mention, like if you're gonna go to an offensive guy, I mean Kevin Stefanski's coached a bunch of different quarterbacks and had like Baker Mayfield had his best season under Kevin Stefanski. Joe Flacco kind of had that renaissance under Kevin Stefanski. He's a good-minded head coach. He'll put him in a good position. He'll put him in good situations to win. The Cleveland Browns situation outside of that is kind of a dumpster fire, but Shedeur Sanders probably will be the second overall pick in this draft.
And you don't cash out Myles Garrett the way that you did and not have his input.
Yep.
Wait.
From there, let's talk about the New York Football Giants, who broke news earlier this afternoon as they have brought Russell Wilson in on a $20 million contract, $10.5 million guaranteed. But what are they doing in the draft, TJ?
This kind of where the draft, quote unquote, starts. And we already know, like, there is a bevy of ways they can go here. They can go Travis Hunter. They can go Abdul Carter. They can go Genty. They can go Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. There's so many ways they could go. But for the sake of this, I think they go Abdul Carter at 3. I'm going Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Abdul Carter. I think you put him on the other side of Kevon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. I think you could probably move him interior if you really wanted to. The Giants' major need are quarterback, offensive line, linebacker, corner, and the defensive line. The only other guy that I think makes a little bit of sense here is the kid from Michigan, Mason Graham. It's kind of that defensive tackle position on the other side. But I think Abdul Carter is the best, Abdul Carter is the best football player in this draft. And no disrespect to Travis Hunter, who I think is very talented, but Abdul Carter should be a day one starter. I expect him to be a game wrecker for defenses in the NFL.
Remember what I said about the Saints and how they're probably gonna play for the Arch Manning sweepstakes.
Yeah,
I think that's what the Giants are going for too.
Well, I mean, if you get Russell Wilson, I mean, there's some pieces on this team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants are like semi-competitive next season, just with upgrading the quarterback position alone.
I get that, but hey, shit happens. Weird shit happens. We've seen it.
100%. From there, one of the most back to I saw the Jaguars next. They're one of the most disappointing teams last season. But to the New England Patriots, they are moving on with their head coach. They now have Mike Vrabel in the house. They have the 4th overall pick. They spent a ton of money in free agency. Their major needs: offensive line, wide receiver, defensive line, running back, and then corner. I am going to finally give Drake May a legitimate weapon for the New England Patriots. I'm going Travis Hunter, going to the New England Patriots. I don't know what I know. He says he wants to play both, but I just don't think that's realistic in the NFL. He'll play some packages both. I think he's probably a better corner today than he is a wide receiver, but he fills both of those needs for New England. I'll be interested to see how much they actually play him on the wide receiver side. He's not playing like 99% of snaps in the NFL. He can't.
David, that's like you said, packages. That's playing both sides of the ball.
Yeah, he will. He's gonna play. He's gonna play both sides. He's just not gonna be like how he was in Colorado, where he plays literally every snap of every game. Like, that's just not realistic. But Travis Hunter has the profile. He's a really good corner. He's a really good wide receiver. I'm interested to see what New England ends up doing with him. I'm going Patriots. I'm going Travis Hunter for the Patriots.
Agreed. He's also a player like you can't you can't put shackles on him. Like, he's only played one style his whole career. Like, he's played both sides of the ball. Now, and I said that when we first did. I'm like, obviously he's not gonna play to the level that he did like Colorado. I've been saying that. But is he gonna play both sides of the ball for whatever team he go to?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. So we'll see. I think him as a corner. I think he's he's still the best cornerback prospect in this draft, and I think he will be a difference maker on defense when it comes to the cornerback position. And I'll see how much he's just going to be a freak athlete that they can use all over the place. And I think Mike Vrabel's going to have some fun with him as a weapon and the offensive side of the ball. From there, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're one of the most disappointing teams from last season. Obviously, Doug Peterson shown the door. Liam Cohen is now in the building. Their major needs: defensive line, corner, safety, offensive line, and then still wide receiver, as Christian Kirk is now out the door. And this kind of feels like a make or break season for Trevor Lawrence, even though they did pay him a bucket load of money. But TJ, who do you got them taking at 5?
This is interesting. It's again like they can go multiple directions too. Obviously, you're not going quarterback because you still having faith in Sunshine. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mason Graham is snatched up right here, or the wide receiver from Arizona,
McMillan?
McMillan.
Yeah.
But I think because they have an offensive minded coach, a rookie head coach at that, I hope they allow him to. I hope they allow him to build the team in his image. So I'm gonna go McMillan. I think McMillan. I think they shock the people and go McMillan at 5.
I think this is a pretty deep wide receiver draft, so I think you can get somebody like not of that caliber, obviously, later. I'm going to go offensive lineman. You trade away Cam Robinson in the middle of the season last year. I'm going to go Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. I just
I
think
like that.
I'm not. He may be a guard in the NFL, but because he doesn't necessarily have the prototypical hands or arm length. But even a borderline, you know, Pro Bowl level guard, it's worth on this offensive line, which was atrocious the last 3 seasons. They need to build up in the trenches. I don't mind the Mason Graham conversation, but I think Will Campbell building this team in the trenches. I think doing it on the offensive side of the ball. Will Campbell also has versatility. I think you can put him at guard or tackle. Give me Will Campbell going to the Jaguars at 5.
I don't hate that.
From 6, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. Their major needs are running back, wide receiver, corner, safety, and then offensive line. I'm having them address. I'm going to go a little bit off of their needs. I'm going to go Mason Graham, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. I think he's probably the best remaining player on the board. The Kristen Wilkins signing really hasn't worked there in Las Vegas. So Mason
It's
Graham
been
is
a
kind of
year. Come on.
I know, but it wasn't exactly as impactful as people thought he would be when they signed him. But I'm going to give them a young player to kind of, be in that position. He's a fantastic football player. And I'm going to go Mason Graham, defensive tackle, Michigan, to the Raiders.
Raiders do Raiders things, and they get Ashton Genty at 6. That's just what they do. It's what they do. For as much as he tries not to be his father, you are your father's son, and you're gonna get the splash player because you want people in the stands, you want people in the seats, and what better way to do that than to get the best running back in college football and the Heisman runner-up. So Ashton Genty, get ready to call Las Vegas home.
I don't mind that. Actually, that's probably what I would do if my backup as my number 2 option, because I think they have some weapons on the outside, and I think they have a pretty good offensive line. They're just missing a bruising running back that Pete Carroll likes to have in his offense. And if Pete Carroll has any real say there, I think we could be talking about Aston Genty as a Las Vegas Raider. It makes too much sense almost. From
And
there, we're gonna.
and that might actually not be quote unquote the Raider reach as like people call it. You feel me? But it's you get what I'm saying, bro. Like it is what it is.
I think I helped coin that phrase, the Raider reach. To the New York Jets, who now have Justin Fields in the house, and Aaron Glenn is the head coach of this football team. Their needs, according to NFL.com, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, safety, and defensive line. I'm going offensive lineman. I'm having them taking the Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle out of Texas. Out of Texas. Good left tackle. He was good and keeps his hands inside. I think he's a good fit for what the Jets want to do, and I think Justin Fields will be very appreciative to have him on his team.
I'm staying with the offensive line, but on mine so far, Will Campbell is still here, so Will Campbell will be going to the Jets, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit knows what it's like to have a stout offensive line and a stout defensive line. So I wouldn't be surprised if both Will Campbell and Mason Graham are here at 7 for Aaron Glenn, and he goes with either one of those guys. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But me personally, I gotta go Will Campbell. Like your left tackle hasn't worked. we did their off season thingy. I forgot what their draft picks are after this one, but they first three picks should be line, just straight offensive, like straight line, like seriously. So give me Will Campbell at 7. Bucky Brooks has them taking Tyler Warren, which I
I don't hate
get,
that either. But
but I wouldn't do it. He also has Mason Graham going to Jacksonville, Carter going to the Patriots, and Ward and Shador going 1 and 2, and Hunter going to the Giants.
from the New York Jets, we swing into Carolina as they continue to try to build around Bryce Young and second-year head coach. That is not coming to me. Is it Dave? That's. I'll look it up. Carolina on the clock. Their major need edge. Dave Canellis. Yes, thank you. Edge, safety, corner, wide receiver, and defensive line. TJ, Carolina, you're on the clock. Talk to me.
Tyler Warren makes a lot of sense here too, to get that safety net for Bryce Young. Like that makes so much sense, don't you think? Like how is tight end not a need? Like who's their tight end right now?
It's it's Tommy Tremble, and then that project they drafted a few years ago.
No. Tyler Warren makes a hell of a lot more sense here. I mean, like Bucky Brooks got them going edge. He got them going Jalen Walker. I think he went to, where did he go to college?
Georgia. Hold on, I got it.
Look that up real quick.
Georgia.
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 Yeah, but Tyler Warren makes sense here.
I'm gonna agree with you because their current tight ends are Tommy Tremble, Jatavion Sanders, who does have some upside, Jordan Matthews, who there's other guys I don't really care about. I'm going Tyler Warren too. I think his upside as a tight end, he might be the most. I mean, we saw what Brock Bowers did in his first season as a pro. And Tyler Warren has the similar skill set. I'm not going to say he's going to be Brock Bowers in his rookie season. Like that rookie season was insane, but he has Rob Gronkowski type build to him, and I think his fit in Carolina makes almost too much sense. You get a security blanket for your young quarterback, you get him another weapon. It's perfect. I think I kind of like the wide receiving core they have in Carolina right now. So if you can upgrade the tight end position, I think that's a win.
Absolutely.
From
no disagreement at all. Like it's go ahead.
From Carolina, let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. They have the number 9 overall pick. They have decided that they're just going to run it back again for the 7,000th time, and so they're never gonna rebuild. So they're just going to continue to roll on. Their major needs, according to NFL.com: corner, offensive line, wide receiver, defensive line, and then quarterback. I'm going to have them go wide receiver. I think he's probably the second best wide receiver in this draft. I'm going to go. I think he just goes by Tet McMillan, the kid out of Arizona. He's just talented. You know, he makes contested catches. He has a crazy mix of length, athleticism, and football intelligence. He will be a good football player. And if they keep the kid from Ohio State on this football team, I think that could be a really interesting duo for the New Orleans Saints. TJ.
Izzy just sent us his mock. He has Mason Graham going to the Saints at 9. I think because he's still on my board. I think also new head coach, Boy Wonder, as David likes to call him. His
that name is not
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore, thank you.
Kellen Moore. I go Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle out of Texas, because your offensive line ain't been much to brag about recently
100%.
either. It's also been beat to hell. Ryan Ramczyk just hasn't worked. Now
he's been good, but he just may have to retire.
He's been beat the fuck up. Like it is what it is, bro. So I go Kelvin Banks. I don't hate Izzy's Mason Graham pick if he falls this far.
Yeah, I
I
just
don't
don't.
hate.
I don't expect Mason Graham to be here at 9. Like
I
I
also
mean,
don't hate your Ted McMillan pick. I don't hate that either. Like Izzy
well,
has
I
him
mean,
going to Carolina.
as long as they're never going to rebuild, but they might as well continue. Like man,
But hey, again, man, I'm telling you right now, like it's gonna be them, possibly Pittsburgh, um, and I'm gonna throw the Giants in there. The Giants at this point maybe cost themselves a shot at Arch Manning, but I know for a fact the Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers probably are gonna be doing something to try to get into
I
the
mean,
Arch Manning sweepstakes
I think
scenario.
Pittsburgh is going to be signing Aaron Rodgers tomorrow, and they will not be in the Arch Manning sweepstakes next season for sure.
But
Well, you know what? Actually, they may be. Who knows? We see what an Aaron Rodgers on team looks like. By the way, Izzy couldn't join us on the show. He will be posting his individual mock draft on our website later. You can find that link in all of the comments. But yeah, we'll be rolling off his predictions as we go through the show. From there, let's swing to number 10, which is, of course, me and TJ's Chicago Bears. And TJ, how do you get
you
the
go
Bears?
first.
That there
You go
was a
first.
very successful free agency haul. They're still their biggest need is still offensive line, running back, edge, wide receiver, and then tight end. I'm having them take the edge out of Georgia, Jalen Walker. I think they
Mm-hmm.
put him on the other side of
Montez
Montez
Sweat.
Sweat. I think he's going to be a difference maker his first season. I have them taking the edge out of Georgia, Jalen Walker. In many drafts conversations would be a top 5 pick because he is stupid talented.
I've seen um, I've seen James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. He's an edge. I've seen him mocked to the Bears. Bucky Brooks has Omarion Hampton, the running back from North Carolina.
Oh, I would hate that.
To especially
Sorry.
like there's no like that early. Absolutely,
I would absolutely hate that.
I it's nothing against Hampton.
I'm
not taking
I can't get behind that at all.
I'm not taking you 10th overall. Like, bro, like the only running back people would mind taking 10th overall if he fall is Genty. If Genty falls to 10.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even that's too rich for me. I think the Bears have bigger needs than running back. I still like the roster, the running backs on the roster currently. I'm in the same boat. Izzy likes Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia.
I don't hate that either. I don't hate that either. But hey, with Jaquan Brisker's that concussion, this is probably like I'm pretty sure he's had some in the past, but this is probably like the worst one he's ever had. And that's concerning. Like, you were supposed to come back this season and you didn't. And it was you couldn't get out of concussion protocol. And me and David, being journalism majors at NIU, we've talked to the football players. We asked them, hey, what is it like to go through a concussion test? And they told us it's like the simplest. They ask you the simplest things. They ask you, hey, what's your name? Where you from? When were you born? What's your address? Like little stuff like that. And then they ask you to repeat. Like once you get through the line of questions, they ask you to repeat some of the answers. And if you can't remember that, hey, you can't get out of concussion protocol. It's simple shit like that. So Malachi Starks to the Bears at 10, would not mind that at all. I would go edge, me personally, like Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr. I'm cool with either one of them. I've even seen mocks where Kelvin Banks Jr. at 10, but in my mock he's gone. So
mine too.
And yours. So like I would go go edge and then hopefully get the tackle out of Missouri in the second round if he's still on the board.
A little bit faster, rapid fire as we get through the top. As we get out of the top 10, we're going to swing out into 11 with the San Francisco 49ers. Their major needs: defensive line, edge, offensive line, running back, and corner. I'm also kind of surprised the Brock Purdy contract hasn't been signed yet. I'm wondering what the holdup is on that. It must be, I don't know. I think I kind of assumed that would for sure be done by now. I have San Francisco. You know, they lose Kadarius Ward in free agency. Will Johnson's probably the best corner outside of Travis Hunter in this draft, the kid from Michigan. That's who I have the 49ers taking in this, in my first mock draft, Will Johnson,
Well,
corner.
Okay.
Izzy has them taking Josh Simmons, the tackle out of Ohio State, which does make a lot of sense with the uncertainty of Trent Williams' career, or at least longevity of the rest of his career. But TJ, what do you got? 10, 11, 49ers.
Oh man, I think they go offense. I think they go offensive. I think they just lost Debo Samuel. Am I correct? Yes, I am correct. I think that's where they go. I think they try to snatch up a Debo Samuel replacement fast. Who that is, do not know.
I mean, the next best wide receiver on most big boards is Luther Burden or
Missouri,
Emeka Obeka or Ugabuka, however you pronounce that, the kid out of Ohio State.
So I think they go Borden at 11. What's this, 11? Yeah, I think they go receiver at 11. I think they immediately replace Debo Samuel. I think that's what they do. I think that's what they do.
From there, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. And I had the Dallas Cowboys. Wait, hold on. I got to look. I don't remember who I had them. This player is now. He's a defensive tackle. It's Samario Stewart. I think he went to, he's an edge out of Texas A&M, especially since Marcus Lawrence is now gone. Samario Stewart was a good football player, long dynamic, athletic edge rusher. He generates a ton of pressure. I think he will be a Dallas Cowboy. He gets to stay in the state of Texas. Samario Stewart goes to the Dallas Cowboys in my first mock draft. I had to kind of remember because I did this like 2 weeks ago. So I had to kind of remember who the player was. I'm like, man, I saw the name. I'm like, man, I don't remember who he is.
Izzy has the Cowboys taking James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. Yeah. Pair him with Micah Parsons while he's still there. It makes too much sense for the Cowboys to do the right thing and get Emeka Egbuka in their offense to pair him with CeeDee Lamb. It just makes too much sense to do that. So they're going to do the exact opposite. And
what is the exact opposite of drafting a wide receiver? What is it, drafting a corner or like an interior linebacker?
Like they're just going to do something like whatever like you feel like benefits your team the most. They're gonna do the exact so like yeah, I could absolutely see them. And I'm not saying James Pierce Jr. would be a bad pick, right? Like that would be a great pick for them. Pair him with Micah Parsons and go from there. But to know that your offense has needs, has holes, and you just blatantly choose to not address it, it makes it just screams what's wrong with the Cowboys. Emeka Egbuka would make a lot of sense right here. I also wouldn't mind them going back to what got them successful in the first place and getting the tackle out of or the guard out of Missouri. It's like it doesn't matter who.
Armand Mambo.
Yeah, him. It's like go ahead, get him, and then hey. Because you ain't.
He's probably a tackle in the NFL, but
especially was like, we'll see if they get him. We'll see. I think it depends on the team.
So the Cowboys' major needs: wide receiver, running back, corner, linebacker, defensive line. From there to the Miami Dolphins with the 13th overall pick. Their biggest need: offensive line, defensive line, safety, corner, and tight end. Izzy has the Dallas Cowboys taking the corner out of Michigan, Will Johnson. TJ, what do you got the Miami Dolphins doing?
Well, Bucky Brooks has them taking Calvin Banks Jr., but he's gone by this point. I have them going Tyler Booker, guard out of where did he go to school?
Hold on.
Alabama. There we go. Escaping me.
I'm going to go tackle the kid out of Missouri, Armand Miembo. I just think that they need to build up this offensive line. They've needed to do that for a long time. They have Tua when they're good. When Tua's upright and healthy, this is one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL. The problem is there hasn't been enough of Tua on the football field. I'm going to go the tackle out of Missouri for the Miami Dolphins at 13. 2-14. We got the Indianapolis Colts on the clock, and their major needs: tight end, offensive line, linebacker, edge, and then running back. As now they have Anthony Richardson and Dan Jones on this football team. Who do I have them taking?
Who you have them taking?
Jihad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama. He's an interior linebacker. He kind of replaces who's that guy who was on their team forever? Who was their linebacker? That was like arguably the best linebacker in football. Man, what is that guy's name? Oh, that's gonna make me so mad. But I mean, he is the prototypical size. He can also generate pass rusher, edge pressure on the quarterback. He's a good football player, and he comes from a winning culture. And the Colts seem to like those kind of guys.
I don't hate that. I have no disagreement with that. Pick 15.
Dexter Lawrence? No. Darius Leonard.
Oh. Yeah, I don't have an issue with Jahad Campbell going to the Colts.
Izzy has the Colts taking also Jahad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama. Look at us on the same wavelength for once. TJ, who do you got the Colts?
Jahad Campbell. I don't hate.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
From there, we're going to go to the Atlanta Falcons, who are number 15 overall. TJ, who do you got the Falcons taking in this mock draft?
What are their needs?
So their needs are edge, defensive line, corner, offensive line, and safety, especially since they let Grady Jarrett walk out the door. Izzy has them taking Luther Burden III, which I do not get at all. Wide receiver, even though, I understand the benefit of having another wide receiver on your football team, that's a head-scratching pick for me. I'm going to go Mikael Williams, the edge out of Georgia. He's the best remaining edge on most people's big boards. And I just think that he adds a dynamic that the Atlanta Falcons desperately need. And he gets to stay in his home state of Georgia. And I like when that happens in mock drafts.
I think a player that – I think this is when we start getting to like the I ain't gonna say Marshall's a mid-major. Mike Green is an edge out of Marshall who will shock a lot of people drafted this high. Now I know like those picks always get the what, the who, like what, who is this, that, like, yeah, it's because y'all just watch the big time college football, teams and whatnot.
Can't be sleeping on the Running Herd or the herd.
No. Thundering Herd, yeah.
Thundering Herd, yeah. Thundering Herd. You can't be sleeping on.
So
my old sports director when I lived in Columbus went to Marshall. Jared Smalley, yeah, and so did Randy Moss, right?
So did Randy Moss.
Actually, Jared Smalley was in college at the same time as Randy Moss.
That's Randy Moss.
Yeah, like they went to school together.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna go. I think the Falcons go. I think they don't take the quote unquote sexy pick because the household name. Rather, they go Mike Green, edge out of Marshall.
So in my mock draft, what's coming up here? I actually have 3 edges going back to back. Yeah, because I think this is where edge is going to – even Jahad Campbell, you can make the argument, could play a little bit edge as more of an interior linebacker. But to the Arizona Cardinals who are on the clock, their major needs, offensive line, wide receiver, edge, defensive line, and then corner. Izzy has them taking Jahad Barron, the corner out of Texas, which I do like that pick, but it's not who I have them taking in my mock draft. I'm taking the James Pierce, the kid with crazy upside out of Tennessee. Yeah, he just tested out of his mind at the combine. I think he's going to be a good football player. James Pierce going to the Cardinals.
I think the Cardinals go offense, and I think they go Omarion Hampton at 16. No disrespect to James Conner and the other guys, but I think they need that extra oomph in the backfield. So I'm gonna go James. I'm gonna go Omarion Hampton.
From the Arizona Cardinals to the Cincinnati Bengals, who spent a whole bunch of money on offseason and are probably not going to be. Trey Hendrickson's probably not going anywhere at the 17th overall pick. Their major need is definitely on the defensive side of the ball with edge, safety, linebacker, offensive line, and then corner. TJ, what do you got the Bengals doing here?
Our beloved friend Izzy has Mike Green going to Cincinnati at 17.
Breaking news. So do I.
I'm gonna. I think they go. Mikael Williams. This is excuse me. This is if Trey Hendrickson deal isn't reached. I'm assuming, right? Like if they don't re-sign Trey Hendrickson.
Well, I mean, he's under contract for next season regardless. So, I mean, they don't necessarily.
Okay, so that part I didn't know. They made it sound like he's. Trey Hendrickson's gone.
I'm pretty sure. Let me hold on.
Double check that. I think that.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson's not a free agent. Like he's under contract at least for this season.
So he's just
he wants an extension, and I don't think.
He's just up for an extension. Okay, so well, that being said, you still draft the edge, and then you pair him with Hendrickson for.
I mean, not to mention that Sam Hubbard just retired, so you need to replace him regardless.
Yeah.
And I'm not to mention that this wasn't exactly a defense that was scaring people by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. So
Mikael Williams out of Georgia goes to Cincinnati and provides a much needed defensive punch.
I'm going Mike Green, edge out of Marshall as that third edge in a row. From there to the Seattle Seahawks, and Izzy has Seattle taken.
Emeka
Egbuka, the wide receiver, he gets to repartner up with Jackson Smith-Njigba. That makes a lot of sense that they trade away DK Metcalf. Their needs on NFL.com: offensive line, wide receiver, corner, safety, and the defensive line. Let's see here. What did I have them do? I had them going wide receiver, but I had them taking Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas. I think he has a little more upside than Egbuka does. Not that Egbuka is a bad football player. I just like Matthew Golden, and he was crazy good in the combine. And I think if he had been a little more healthy in that national title game, it could have changed the tides for the Texas Longhorns. Give me Matthew Golden going to Seattle.
I mean, who knows?
We don't know, but
we don't know. Bucky Brooks has them taking Gray Zabel, the tackle out of, I think he went to North Dakota State. First off, shout out to North Dakota State for finally getting the adequate recognition that they deserve. All y'all need to do now is just leave the FCS behind. Just go straight FBS. Y'all have the track record. Y'all got the winning. Just take the next leap. Stop being a big fish in a small pond. Just go FBS and whoop ass. That's all y'all got to do. Anyway.
I mean, they have gotten some recognition. They had 2 quarterbacks drafted in the top 5 in the last 10 years. I'm just saying.
Bro, like, I don't think there's ever been a coach to come out of North Dakota State that's had a losing record in the last 20 years.
I'm sure they haven't.
They just whooping ass. But Gray Zabel at 18 he's one of those dudes, like, he can play everywhere on the line minus center. Right? He ain't snapping the ball. And if you're Will McDonald out going into your second year, you know what you need. You got Sam Darnold as your signal caller now. You saw what Sam Darnold did with the line that he had in Minnesota, which was underrated, by the way. Like, no one thought that they were going to do what they did.
Yeah, I mean, if they hadn't lost Darisaw, I mean, who knows?
Darisaw?
Yeah, I mean,
so like you saw what happened with that, and so I think adding someone with a high IQ like that will be benefit. Again, it's not sexy. So like the Egbuka pick is sexy because like how you just described it. Oh, he reunites with his college teammate. They know each other. They lost DK. He's an immediate replacement. Da 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 da. Gray Zabel comes in. It's just like, oh, he's just gonna provide that more beef up front. Not sexy. No one likes that. But Will McDonald will like that.
100%. Coming from the Ravens, where they built that team from the interior out. So, from the Seattle Seahawks to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're finally getting into some playoff teams here. I think this is the first playoff team on the clock. I can't remember if Seattle made the playoffs last year. I think they were the last team out.
I think they were too.
So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their major needs according to NFL.com: linebacker, corner, edge, safety, offensive line, and the best player because of Tampa Bay's where they're sad. It's like they don't necessarily have glaring needs. Like they have, like sure they have some needs on NFL.com, but I think that as a whole, like they're a pretty good football team. But I think the best player available is at the safety position. It's Malachi Starks, the kid out of Georgia. And he is a difference maker at the safety position. He's not like a crazy athlete the way a lot of these other safeties are, but he is just going to make good football plays. He has really high IQ. He fills the need for Tampa Bay, and he's just an excellent football player.
I don't hate Izzy's pick either with Egbuka going to Tampa Bay, especially with the injuries.
Well, they have Michael Williams. He has Michael Williams going.
Did I misread that?
Bay. Yeah, He's got Michael Williams going.
He's got
Georgia, which I don't hate either.
I don't hate that either.
He's long gone on my board, so I can't mock that. But
he just like well, he ain't long gone in mine, but he's gone in mine. If you're Tampa with the injuries to Godwin and Evans becoming more frequent, I might add, especially the Godwin, like his injuries have been more significant.
Well, I mean, they must be confident in his ability because they gave him a 3-year deal.
And a
lot of that has to do with the fact that they're just loyal to their guys. Like, Chris Godwin's been loyal. He's been a good football player for your team. We're gonna reward this guy with some money. But I feel like they have to be confident that he's gonna be okay.
Absolutely, and I have nothing wrong with that. But hey, if Matthew Golden is there at 19 with the injury history to Godwin and Evans, you can't not say that that's a bad pick. You have to be okay with that. That would be like it would be perfect. It's like, hey, if one of these guys get hurt, okay, you just slide right in and hold down the fort till they get back. Then you go to your natural spot at the 3 or wherever we're playing you. I also wouldn't mind them taking that tight end out of Michigan. It's no disrespect to Cade Otton or whoever they got at
Colston Loveland.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to Cade Otton or whoever they have at tight end right now. But and whoever else they have at tight end. But I wouldn't hate that. So, but me personally, I would go Golden at 19.
From there to one of the surprise teams from 2024 who snuck into the playoffs, the Denver Broncos are on the clock with the 20th overall pick. Izzy has them taking Amarian Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina. NFL.com has running back as their number one need, followed by corner, wide receiver, corner, tight end, and defensive line. And I thought about going Colston Loveland here. But because of the way this mock draft worked out in the Denver Broncos' favor, Aston Genty is just kind of here at 20. I'm going to have Denver taking Aston Genty. He's probably the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley. To get him at 20 and to be really boister up your running back room is a steal.
All right, so
there's in the real draft, there's no way Aston Genty makes it to 20. Like
no.
if he's sitting there at 10, the teams are going to be calling the Bears, and the Bears could get a haul. Like literally any of these teams. Like if Aston Genty is still sitting there at 15, 16, 12, teams are going to be calling.
I'm telling you right now, if he's on the board past 6. Teams are going to be calling.
100%. So I have Broncos going Aston Genty, running back out of Boise State.
I see I've seen like 4 mocks, Izzy's included, with Omarion Hampton
I just don't think
Just
he's a first round pick.
fall into
that's my
fall
honest
into
opinion.
Denver at 20, and that's fine. You can have that. Okay. So in my mock, Omarion Hampton's gone. Right.
Yeah,
Ohio State has two. Ohio State
yeah.
has two running backs that you can pick. Travion Henderson is probably going to be going to Denver at 20 if everything works out how I have it working out. So Travion Henderson to Denver at 20.
Go a little bit faster here through the final 12 picks. The Pittsburgh Steelers are now on the clock. Their major needs here is we're going to skip the needs for the rest of the show. But quarterback, running back, defensive line, wide receiver, and offensive line. Izzy has them taking Shedeur Sanders, who I would be
No
legit
way.
shocked when he's still there at 21. I'm going to go ahead them go defensive lineman Walter Nolan out of Mississippi. So I just think he's a good football player, and he matches a fit for the Steelers as they try to build that defense. And Shedeur Sanders will not be the pick at 21. Just breaking news for you. TJ.
But I do have a quarterback at 21, and if what you say works, if it goes how you say, and Aaron Rodgers is signed within the following week or days or so, and Aaron Rodgers is signed, this is the perfect spot for Jackson Dart to just sit there
100%.
and not play. Like, you don't have to worry about Jackson Dart seeing the field. You just go in, you learn, and then 2026 you become the full-time starter. So I'm gonna go Jackson Dart at 21.
At 22 to the Los Angeles Chargers, and I have them taking Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan. I know he had a relatively down season this year, but he's still a top-notch tight end prospect. And the Chargers, especially
Loveland. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Especially since they missed out on Evan Ingram because they didn't want to give him a little more money. He makes too much sense at the tight end position. Izzy, right quick, has them taking also Colston Loveland, as we agree the third time on this mock draft. So, yeah.
Colston Loveland, he does make a lot of sense. He's also reunited with his college head coach and Jim Harbaugh. And Colston Loveland only had a down season this past season because the Michigan quarterbacks were awful. They could not throw the ball. They were god awful. We saw what Colston Loveland could do when J.J. McCarthy was slinging the rock. Colston Loveland right here just makes too much sense. And Justin Herbert will literally pick him up from the airport and drive him and drive him to his new place of residence himself. Colston Loveland at 22 makes too much sense.
To the Green Bay Packers at 23. Izzy has them taking I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that last name. The edge out of Boston College. TJ, who do you got them taking as their major needs? Corner, wide receiver, edge, defensive line, offensive line. As I'm not sure what the status of Alexander is going to be. I kind of thought he'd be traded by now, but that hasn't.
Me too. Donovan Azaraku. Azaraku, edge out of Boston College. Don't hate that. It's also a typical Packers pick. It is. It's no disrespect to. One thing I'll give the Packers credit for. They can draft their asses out. I will give them that.
100%.
I will forever credit them on that. The Jair Alexander thing is weird. Like, the way they talked about him, the way that he acted, you would have thought that something would have happened by now. That being said, looks like nothing's gonna happen right now, and he's gonna be on the Packers roster come opening.
I still don't think he's going to be on the roster opening day. I think there's going to be at some point he gets traded between now or the draft. I'm going to have them take a corner. I'm taking the kid out of Texas, Jahad Barron. He is a absolute super athlete. He can play in the slot. He can play in the box. He can literally do it all at the cornerback position. And I think the Packers would benefit from having a corner like him on their roster, even if Alexander stays.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm looking at the Sports Illustrated mock draft, and they have their needs. I know you said skip the needs, but they have their needs at edge, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. And I can't help but think about the quote that Josh Jacobs said about them not having that guy like that surefire wide receiver that hey, no matter what you do, he's getting the ball and there's nothing you can do about it, like that guy. And I can't help but think them not going receiver at 23. I don't know who it is because that guy, that's 6'5", like that guy is Chet McMillan, and in both of our mocks, all three of our mocks, he's gone.
He's a top 10 pick.
He's gone. So unless they find somebody else like that, well, hey, give me the ball, get the fuck out the way. Hey,
I mean, the kid from Iowa State is a good football player. I'm not sure what his build is. Yeah, he's 6'4", 214 pounds.
What's his name?
Jaden Higgins.
Gotta get him.
6'4", 214.
Gotta get him. Gotta get him. That's where I would go.
From there, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. If we go back-to-back NFC North team, and I have them addressing their offensive line. I have them going Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. We saw a considerable drop-off when Christian Darrisaw was down. I think that they're going to try to build through the trenches as well. So Josh Simmons, Vikings.
I don't hate that.
Izzy, Walter Nolan, defensive end, or I guess defensive tackle out of Mississippi that I kind of had go earlier in this draft. TJ.
I don't hate that. The guy you said first.
Josh Simmons.
Yeah, hell, I don't hate that.
Moving on from there, we got the Houston Texans at 25. I have them taking Kenneth Grant. Pretty sure defensive tackle. Or hold on, let me make sure about that. Yeah, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Good football player. Kind of fills a need for the Houston Texans as their needs are offensive line, wide receiver, defensive line, safety, and corner. As I know, they just paid Danielle Hunter, and I know they traded away Lamir Tunsil at this point. But there isn't really a guard or an offensive lineman to take at this next pick. So I'm going to have them stick. I also did this back before the trade. I just didn't think about this particular pick. I'm just going to stick with Kenneth Grant. I mean, this is probably going to be a pick that changes big time in the next couple mock drafts because I forgot that Larry Tunsil's gone. So there you go.
No, it happens. Like you don't. Again,
Izzy hasn't taken Matthew Golden, which I love that as a pick. Stephon Diggs just signed with the Patriots today, and we're not really sure what the status of the kid from Houston.
Tank Dell. He's not playing. He's not playing.
Yeah, so I think you need to bolster up that wide receiver. You can't just have Nico Collins as a one-man wrecking crew going into next season.
Yeah, Tank Dell is 100%. If he does play next season, it will 100% be like towards the end of the season. Yeah, by that point, it's not even worth it bringing him back because he ain't played in so fucking long. Like you might as well just, hey, dude, we just gonna give up for the following season. Where are we at? 25. Mike Tannenbaum has Kelvin Banks Jr. falling all the way to 25.
Yeah, okay.
I'd be shocked if Kelvin Banks is here, but they also signed Cam Robinson. So
I mean, he's not good. So I mean, he's a serviceable tackle in the NFL, but there's a reason that the Jacksonville Jaguars gave up on him, and there's a reason that the Jaguars weren't exactly thrilled on keeping him on their roster. So
it's like, hey, you can go if you want to. The Rams at 26.
26, they got the Rams. I have them addressing offensive line. I have them going Tyler Booker, interior offensive lineman out of Alabama. You just trade Jonah Jackson. I know he didn't play for this football team last season, but you still need depth at the interior offensive line. By the way, this is like the first round draft where every team has their own pick in like 10 years. So
really
something like that.
That's interesting.
Might not be 10, but it's certainly a number.
And
Izzy's got Calvin Banks Jr. He's not going to fall all the way to 26. Like that's just it's no way, zero chance.
You ready for this? One?
Yeah.
I don't think you're ready for this one.
If you're taking a quarterback, I'm going to end the show right now.
It's Jalen Milroe. He gets to sit behind Matt.
Zero chance.
He He gets to sit behind Matthew Stafford.
I know Jackson Dart's like long gone on your mock draft, but if he was here, I would take him over. But there's no way.
But think about it. Like Jalen Murrow was perfect. He gets to sit behind Matthew Stafford. They get to work on the things that he needs to work on, mechanics, all the other. He's with Sean McVay, who will absolutely get the best out of him. Right? Like he don't have to work.
Yeah,
like,
I mean the logic checks out.
The logic is there. Come on.
I don't think that's the way they're gonna go. They just signed Matthew Stafford for like a 3-year extension. Like they're not gonna draft it. Like what are they gonna do him like Aaron Rodgers? Like can you imagine?
No, I'm not saying that at all. But okay, so of that 3 years, how many of those 3 years do you think Matthew Stafford actually plays?
All 3.
Because I'm telling you right now, bro. No, I'm telling you right now. Like once the talk of retirement, once those talks start to happen and they start to rev up, like hey, like the more you talk about it, the more real it get. Because I'm telling you, of the 3 years, I guarantee you, Matthew Stafford is done after 2.
We'll see. Okay. To the Ravens, anyways. I got them taking wide receiver Luther Burden out of Missouri. He fills a need there for the Baltimore Ravens as he's kind of the sidekick on Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins and Rashad Bateman. They still need a young wide receiver to build around. Luther Burden III. Izzy has them taking the safety, another safety out of Notre Dame, Xavier Watts, and partnering him with Kyle Hamilton, which I do like, but I don't think. Yeah. Anyways, what do you got? Come on, you got another shocker one here. You got any more?
Oh,
if I wasn't already sitting down, you should have probably told me to sit down before that Rams pick.
You do not get to mock my picks. With some of your picks in the past, no.
I know.
Absolutely.
That's why it's a mock draft, man. I'm allowed to disagree.
See, again, like this is one of those teams where it's like you have needs, but what are your needs? Like you have holes, but it's like, what are they? And I'm kind of like with Baltimore, I'm in the same boat as Green Bay. Like you need that receiver that give me the fucking ball. And no disrespect to DeAndre Hopkins, but
he's like 5 years removed from being that guy.
And I don't want to say it, and I think that's kind of the issue that we have today. It's like people are so focused on the name. It's like, hey, that's still DeAndre Hopkins. I'm like, no.
Yeah, he hasn't been DeAndre Hopkins in like several years.
And Mark Andrews kind of showed his age this past season.
He was solid on the stretch, except for that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but down the stretch, it was like, hey, I'm gonna show y'all why I'm Mark Andrews.
Yeah, he got off to a slow start, but
Bucky Brooks has him taking Mikael Williams, and both of our mocks, he's gone by this point. Oh man, Matthew Golden does make a lot of sense, but he's gone in my mock by this point. I think they go. I like the safety pick that Izzy picked. I think they go Nick Emanwari, the safety out of South Carolina, who had a hell of a combine.
Yep.
He had a great combine. And I know I've shitted on the combine in the past, especially when it comes to quarterbacks, because ain't shit you throwing in a t-shirt and shorts can tell me versus the game film. Nick Emanwari is basically DK Metcalf as a safety, which is terrifying.
100%. Speaking of Nick Emanwari, that's why I have the Lions taken at 28. His combine was just ridiculous. I don't think he's better than Malachi Starks. He's the best safety in this draft, but it's close. That's why I got the Lions going at 28. Izzy, real quick, has Jamar Stewart, the edge out of Texas A&M, which makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
As they need to bolster that position as well.
I think that's where I would go. I stick to what you know, stick to your bread and butter, and that's get guys who can get to the quarterback. And again, this is a team that they finished the season with 16 dudes on IR.
Yeah. something like that.
And like because they lost dudes in that playoff game against
Commanders.
Washington.
Yeah.
So it's like you went into the game with like 13 dudes, and then you lost 3 more during the process of that game. That sucks. So I don't know what Detroit would have done had everybody been healthy. And so yeah, Shamar Stewart to the Lions at 28 makes a hell of a lot of sense.
To the Washington Commanders at 29. Izzy in his mock draft has them taking Cam
My God.
Scatterbo.
Hey, we are not taking picks from Izzy anymore. I like Cam Scatterbo. I really, really do. Cam Scatterbo is not going in the first round.
He also is not. It's not a major need for the.
Matter of fact, you know what? Izzy is at dinner with his mother right now. I am not gonna disrupt dinner time with Mama to criticize this pick. He will see. Like I'm gonna wait till I know for a fact that he's home. And
so I also put this mock draft together before the Laramie Tunsil pick trade. I had them taking Josh Conley Jr., the offensive tackle out of Oregon. Yeah, he will not be this pick in my next one. So there you go.
He very well could be
Cornerly. Yeah, sorry, Cornerly, not Conley. Cornerly, if I can spell it all ever again.
It happens, like it happens. But our good old friend Mike Tannenbaum, who was a terrible GM, by the way, there's a reason he's a former GM. He's on TV. He's not picking for people anymore. There's a reason. He has Washington taking Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback out of Kentucky, which is actually a good pick. That makes sense. If Tannenbaum did picks like that more often, then he probably would still have a job. But yes, Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky makes a lot of sense. At 30.
To the Buffalo Bills.
And this is why Mike Tannenbaum is fired, because Emeka Egbuka falling all the way to 30, not happening. I just don't see
it. He's still there on my board. I just don't think that's the pick that the direction they're going to go. I had them taking Chevin Revel, the corner out of East Carolina. They obviously need a major upgrade at the cornerback position as they let Kyrie Elam leave. I know, so he's coming off that torn ACL. He was the best cornerback prospect in this draft class when he was healthy.
I even like Izzy's pick, Nick the other edge, Nick Scorton, because we saw what happened with Von Miller. It ended poorly. And
I know they brought in Joey Bosa, but Joey Bosa hasn't played a full season in 5 years.
Death taxes and Joey Bosa getting injured. 3 guarantees in life. Bro, I've literally said that ever since Joey Bosa's been in the league, and I've never been proven wrong since. I haven't been proven wrong yet. But and the other edges that you have, so you got Gregory Rousseau, you have the other kid that they took a couple years ago. His name's escaping me. It'll come to me. But yeah, Nick Scorton just makes a hell of a lot more sense at 30 than some of the other picks. And hopefully you're hoping that what's his name? Keon Coleman takes a step forward. You already have your trusted and you got 2 solid tight ends, Dawson Knox and the other guy, his name's escaping me too. Yeah, Dalton
Connect.
No,
Kincaid.
Dalton Kincaid. Too many Daltons running around.
Way too many Daltons. There's only 2, but it's too many.
When the hell did Dalton become a popular name?
I like it, man. I like it. It's a solid name. If I ever have children, which is up in the air at this point, I might have a Dalton Huffman. I like it. It's solid.
I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna save it for the group chat. But no.
Moving on. Let's just move on to Kansas City. This is going off the rails real quick. I have them taking
31.
Aaron Towe Ursay, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota, as they try to rebuild that offensive line at the draft. He's 6'6", 331 pounds. He is a mammoth human being.
He's not a small person.
No, not for sure not.
Jesus Christ.
Izzy has to take the tackle out of North Dakota State. He can play everywhere. Yeah, so he's real versatility, which makes a lot of sense for this.
Oh, no. Mike Tannenbaum has Imanwari going to the Chiefs at 31. No, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, and we said it, every Super Bowl that you have lost has been a blowout. It's only been 2, but it's been a blowout. And it's because your offensive line couldn't handle the pressure. And the Super Bowls that you have won, you ain't dominating like you think you are. You're scraping by the skin of your teeth, but you don't care because you're winning. Win by 1, win by 40. The end result is the same. You win. That being said, you got to go offensive line. I don't care who's there at this point. It has to be offensive line. I don't care if it's guard. I don't care if it has to be offensive line. I don't care who it is. So that's my pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. Not a person, a position group. Offensive line. Pick one.
To the final team in this mock draft is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I have a bit of a homer pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. I have them taking Darius Alexander, the edge rusher out of Toledo, who went to Wayne High School, which is conveniently located in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I currently live and work. Our sports director, Glenn Marini, actually just had a one-on-one interview with him that's airing tomorrow on Wayne 15.
Is there any way that you can share it to the group? I would love to see that.
Yeah, once he puts the video on, once he posts the web story on there, the video should attach. But yeah, Darius Alexander is a big time riser in this draft process. He was awesome in the Senior Bowl. He was awesome in the bowl game that he played in. I had like 3 sacks in that game for the Toledo Rockets. Yeah, a little bit of a homer pick, but it does fill a need. He's 3'11", 6'4". Like, he is not a small human being. And I want to see him go in the first round. I don't think he will, but since this is a mock draft and this is supposed to be fun, I want to have a little bit of fun with the last pick. So, Darius Alexander, I hope you hear your name on the first night, my friend. You deserve it.
I don't hate that. Hey, good luck to him. That's all. See, this is the issue I have with the Super Bowl winner, because you lost a few people, but you didn't lose people like we thought you were going to lose people. And and your backups could start for you. Your backups could start in a lot of places. So it's like, what do you really need if you're Philly? And that's a genuine question. What do you really need in Philly? And Mike Tenenbaum has him going Grazer Bell out of North Dakota State. In my mock, he's already gone. He's gone.
That pick doesn't make any sense at all.
He's gone. Bucky Brooks has.
They have a need at corner now that C.J. Gardner-Johnson or safety wherever he plays, and then Darius Slay is also gone. So they could use a nickel, and they could use a safety.
So if that's the case, Malachi Starks is still on my board. Malachi Starks literally slides to Georgia.
Of course, the Eagles get another Georgia player, right?
But that's since it's the end of. I'm going Malachi Starks at 32. It's right there, and yeah, he reunites with a lot of former teammates.
100%.
But the name I want y'all to look out for. He's not a first round pick, obviously. He could be a day 2 guy, second round, third round guy, could very well be a day 3 guy, but either way, he is an absolute steal. His name is Pat Bryant, wide receiver from Illinois, 6'2", 205, absolute dog. He is a monster. Whoever gets Pat Bryant, you're getting an animal. You will not regret it. Look out for Pat Bryant. You will not regret it.
Thank you very much for joining us here at our mock draft 1.0. We will be swinging into the UFL stuff tomorrow because I'm pretty excited for the start of spring football, as I am every year. But thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. My name is David Humpin. Right there is my co-host, Mr. T.J. Hopkins. And TJ, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We get ready for work. And
I gotta eat some dinner, man. I'm starving, dude. I have not eaten much in the last couple of days.
A bit of good news for your boy. I have an interview for a teaching job in Indianapolis on the 8th.
Oh, dude, congratulations! That's awesome,
right?
Man, let's go.
Right? So yeah, let's prayers to your boy.
Positive vibes, baby. Let's go, man. You deserve it, man. Let's go.
Thank you.
But yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow, breaking down some UFL as we can only start.
I already said what I said about Cam Scatterbill in the group chat. I'm just waiting for Matt to say something. I'm just waiting on it.
We'll be back here tomorrow. Y'all have a good night and stay safe out there. TJ, I'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
See you, man.
Peace, brother.
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning in to real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.